Thank you everyone for coming out to City Hall this morning. My name is David Schwartz, and I am the advocate and spokesman for New Yorkers Stand Against Insurance Fraud, NYSAIF. And what NYSAIF is doing, it is educating the public on the epidemic of no-fault insurance fraud. There are people's lives being lost because criminal enterprises are using their vehicles, using their cars as weapons and dangerous instruments all over the city of New York. This is an epidemic which is costing New Yorkers hundreds of millions of dollars. And what NYSAIF really stands for is to tell the government to enact certain laws that are going to make this epidemic stop. And one of those laws is Alice's Law. Alice's Law creates a new felony category for anyone that stages a car accident with the intent of committing insurance fraud. And I am so pleased and honored to have with me today a partner in AAA of New York. Robert Sinclair is going to be speaking in a little while. AAA has come up to the plate and is saying enough is enough. They represent 1.6 million members in this state, and they are in support of Alice's Law. And I'm also equally honored to be standing here with a champion for all the drivers of the state of New York, Assemblyman David Weprin, who is the sponsor of Alice's Law. And what Alice's Law does is it creates a D felony category for anyone who stages a car accident with the intent of committing insurance fraud. We are asking the Assembly to pass this law here and to pass it now to address this horrible epidemic of no-fault insurance fraud. It's costing lives. It also costs hundreds of millions of dollars to New Yorkers. We have 400,000 cases filed every year in this city, in this state, and 25% of those cases have some sort of fraud in it. And we think that the bill being sponsored by David Weprin is an important tool to fight no-fault fraud. And we are so honored and pleased to have a partner in AAA. So without any further ado, I present to you Robert Sinclair from AAA of New York. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you very much. AAA New York represents more than 1.6 million drivers in the state of New York. And motorists are already burdened with high fees, high registration fees, high license fees, surcharges on tickets, high tolls, high repair charges because of bad roads, and it all results in high anxiety. The burden on motorists has got to stop, and it's not just on motorists, it's on everyone that pays insurance. The estimates vary, but it says that the average motorist in New York is paying an extra $300 a year on their insurance bills as a result of fraud, and New Yorkers pay the fourth highest insurance rates in the country, mostly because of fraud. It is something that costs lives, it costs money, and it has to stop. We are thankful that the governor and the legislature have taken up this cause in order to get a bill passed to help stop insurance fraud. We're looking forward and urging the state legislature to pass the bill that would make staging insurance fraud crashes a felony, and to make those who recruit those who participate in those crashes a felony as well. We ask for that law to be passed, that bill to be passed and become law as soon as possible, so this untoward burden on everyone in the state of New York can stop as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much for being such an important voice on this issue, and for AAA, how it stands up for all the drivers of New York. You do an incredible job, so thank you for supporting this bill. And I now present to you Assemblyman David Weprin, the sponsor of Alice's Law, a champion for New York drivers. Thank you, David.
Thank you, David. Alice's Law, which we hope to become law, right now it's Alice's Bill, has already passed in the New York State Senate and is pending in the New York State Assembly. We've had extensive discussions with members, with staff over the last number of months, but we're now in the home stretch. The legislative session in Albany will be ending in 2 weeks on thereabouts June 21st, which is 2 weeks from yesterday. So it's very urgent that the Assembly pass Alice's bill to become Alice's law in the next 2 weeks. Alice Ross was a constituent of mine when I was in the City Council. I represent that area as well now in the New York State Assembly. Alice Ross was a 71-year-old mother and grandmother who was an innocent victim. In this case, she was driving her car. The staged accident, fake accident was occurring, and in order to avoid the accident, she swerved and went into a tree in the neighborhood, a neighborhood tree, and was killed as a result of that accident. So we believe that a law like Alice's law save other people's lives, not to mention save hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to consumers in insurance premiums that they're paying as a result of these staged accidents. We obviously have no-fault insurance because of the fact that unscrupulous individuals want to collect $50,000 per claim without having to worry about who is at fault. Because of the no-fault insurance clause, these accidents are occurring. Very often someone is in an accident or witnesses an accident and has no idea that it was a fraud being committed. They may have thought it was just a fender bender, a regular accident, but this is happening and it's not fully reported because as people don't necessarily know that it's a phony accident. So it is incredulous to me. It's hard to believe that it is not a felony under New York State law to fake an automobile accident, to actually use your automobile as a weapon, as David Schwartz pointed out, to stage this type of accident. I believe once Alice's bill becomes Alice's law, not only will consumers save hundreds and hundreds of dollars of their own annual premiums, but in the hundreds of millions of dollars for consumers in New York State, but we will save lives. And it belongs as a separate felony. Obviously, there are other felonies and misdemeanors that people can be prosecuted for, insurance fraud and other related, but there is no specific felony for the actual act of creating this fake accident. So I'm hoping that in the next 2 weeks we'll come together and be able to make Alice's law, Alice's bill, Alice's law. We'd be happy to answer any questions. Yes. Correct. We have 2 weeks. We have over 30 sponsors in the assembly of the bill. And we're having numerous discussions, and I'm hoping we'll be able to pass it in the next 2 weeks. David, you know.
Sure. Well, other states don't have this problem. The state of Florida, it's New York and Florida, the two big no-fault states. So Florida has addressed this problem by passing comprehensive reform. In fact, there are about 15 other bills that New Yorkers Stand Against Insurance Fraud want to really combat this problem. This bill is the first of many. This should be the low-hanging fruit. This should be a common sense piece of legislation which creates a felony category by using your car as a weapon. So to answer your question, the other no-fault fraud states don't have this problem. The other state that had an epidemic, along with New York, is addressing this problem. So we're going to ask the governor and the Assembly and the Senate to take up this problem, not just Alice's law, but the wide-ranging, comprehensive bills which will fundamentally attack no-fault fraud.
Yeah, what obstacles, if any, has the bill facing the Assembly so far?
Well, you know, certain people feel we don't need additional crimes. Obviously, that's not the case. You know, it's important to have. By the way, the district attorneys support this legislation, and one of the issues is allowing the district attorneys all possible vehicles and tools to prosecute these terrible crimes perpetrated by individuals looking to commit insurance fraud and, as a result, causing serious injury and, in the case of Alice Ross and others, death. So we want to be able to give the prosecutors a separate crime where there's no question that they can go after these perpetrators as a felony for creating this staged accident.
Can I step in also to answer that question? Don't buy into anyone saying to you it's duplicative, because we pass laws all the time that are duplicative, but they send a message to certain epidemics that are going on. Look at all the hate crime legislation. That too can be duplicative, but we passed hate crime legislation to stop hate crimes from happening. All the new sex crimes legislation can be considered duplicative. However, we passed that legislation because we need to send a message to the perpetrators of these horrible crimes. So to say that something may be covered by something else does not fully address the no-fault crisis that we are in today.